Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Secret of Living the Good Life. Our goal is to introduce you to people from all across the world to learn from in order not to make some of life's common mistakes in our faith, family, finance, and fitness. See, if we make mistakes as we go along, this can hurt us in living the good life as we get older. So today, I was lucky enough to have a veteran who is about 33 years of real estate in Canada. He is a top real estate agent, one of the top real estate agents. He has been involved in over 4,000 deals, both buying and selling. He's a proud member of the REMAX Elite Club, Circle of Legend Club, real estate investor for over 25 years in both commercial and residential investing. The cool part, he wrote a book, and the book is called Wealth Through Real Estate Investing. And even the better part, all the proceeds are being given to charity, which is commendable. Thank you. He's also one of the founder member of the Caribbean Children Foundation, and he built a robust team in his business, and the team is called Bridge Team. Our guest today is Jay Brijpaul. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks for having me on.
Good. So, Jay, I'm going to ask you one question. So from my little introduction here, are you living the good life in your faith, family, fitness, and finance?
Yes, actually, my goal is similar to yours, and I've been instilling that in my family life and my professional life as well. I had three goals. Now I'll add the next one. Mine is first health, then second is family, and third is wealth. So you've got faith in it, and by family, I extend it further to relationship instead of it's more of a relationship.
Correct.
As well. So it must be in that specific order. If you don't have good health, you can't enjoy wealth. You don't have a good family either, right? Because health is paramount. Then comes, after health, then comes the family, and then comes wealth. Okay,
so you agree that why we have Jay on this show is to get some of the secrets of living the good life, right? Because Jay is walking the path, he's living the good life, he did it all. So Jay, I'm going to leave investing or finance for last, because that's your niche. So we'll do some more dwelling on it. And but let's start with faith. I know you're a busy guy in terms of your career, your family, and all your charitable foundation that you work with. How do you incorporate faith with all of this in your life?
At the end of it, it depends how you relate to faith. For me, what is faith? Faith for me is focus all your efforts into doing good most of the time, right? To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's similar to what you sow, so shall you reap.
Yes.
That kind of a principle. So if you sow good thoughts, you reap good action. And if you sow good action, you reap great habits. And you sow great habits, you reach wonderful destiny, right? So the bottom line is start with the thought process. The best way to get a better thought process is always process things positively.
Right.
All right. We are all very small part of the universe. We are not even a cell in the eye of the universe.
True.
And we human beings are so intelligent. So you could imagine the combined intelligence of that universe.
Right.
Right. So that's where faith comes in. If you believe in something strongly, you do it the right way, you do the right things, it will come.
Yeah, I so believe in that. I read the book that I read, and I pick up this one phrase that it says that thought become things. And you just kind of echo that, right? And I think it's true. And I encourage my audience and anyone who's listening, just do it in small steps and try to follow some of these principles that you're going to hear today from the legend Jay. Thank you, Jay.
Ray, let me just share one more with you, how important the thought is. And to this extent, it can just imagine you got a lemon in your hand and you slice it and bring it close to your nose and just open your lips like you are taking a sip. Chances are you are salivating, your audience salivating. That's how powerful thought is.
True, eh? Wow, that's a
And
nice.
just convert thought into action.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Thank you. Thank you. Good. So let's go straight into our second F, and let's go into family. Now, this is a strong topic for a lot of people. And for me, I think it's so critical as we get older to have our family together and build that relationship even more as we get older, because it's necessary. It's an important facet as we get older in our lives. What are your takeaways in it, Jake?
Yeah, well, when it comes to family, Ray, as I said, I have changed the word in mind from family to relationship because it goes beyond. My neighbor, for example, is my family. If I didn't cut the grass, he will do it. I take my garbage bin out and I didn't bring it in, he will shove it in. So that's where it become relationship, and relationship between a husband and wife started, and then it become family. Right? So I always believe in relationship. Now, in relationship, it's very simple. Number one, give more than you want to receive. That's one important. Number two, don't raise with praise. Don't hit the other party down. The problem with a lot of relationship, the minute there is a little bit of infight, you find what happened, people start to go at the weakest point of the other person and hit on that. And what you focus on will expand. So if you focus on the weakness will expand. You focus on the positive will expand. I sincerely believe that God gives each one of us an equal bundle of strength and weaknesses. The strength is for us to develop and survive. The weakness is like a weak muscle for us to enhance and to make us better. Right. So nobody is more powerful than the others. Even the richest person on earth got certain weaknesses because it must be a balance, right? The aim is to look at it as a rainbow. Maybe you are seeing one side of the rainbow, one side of the story, but the family member is seeing a different side of the story. So you got to look at both sides to see the whole rainbow.
Thank you. That's pretty cool, man. I like you said, raise with praise. I like that analogy. It's pretty good. Good. Thank you. So let's go straight to our next one here and go into fitness. I don't know how much fitness you are involved in at this part in your life, but tell us how you coordinate all of it with all your busy life, like I'm saying, and how do you get it all together?
Well, as I said before, my goals, I have 3 goals in life. My first is health. Second is family or relationship. And third is wealth. Right. So the way I do it, I make sure that 5 days per week, the minute I got up, I will hit, the body is the most important, health first. So at least I will take about 2 hours in the morning, and that's my personal time. That's time invested in myself. Right? What do you do? Yeah, well, what I'll do an hour and a half roughly on an elliptical. I'll do about 40 minutes weight, 40 minutes yoga, and about 10 minutes meditation. So then my day starts after that. That's the first thing. It's like your car. Put it this way, your body is your car. You are the driver of that car. You are that consciousness in that car. And you want to make sure that the car is properly tuned. Right. So if the car is being properly tuned, then it will take you along the process. You don't have flat tires. You don't say, hey, I'll suddenly throw sugar in my tank. All right. I mean, you damage the car engine, right? Similar in your body, you want to make sure that while you're exercising and get the body up to the maximum, you want to make sure that the kind of food you put into the body is also important. Right, that's the second one. So it goes hand in hand. Not only exercise, watch what you're eating, and then at the same time understand that we are living in one part of the world where we tend to be we tend to sit a lot unlike back home. So make sure that the diet is as such to accommodate for that. And during the day, when in your job, make sure you get up all the time, move around a little bit, and um, set your goal. If you set a goal that is realistic, you will do it.
Wow, that is so good. You know, I practice 80% of what you just said there in the morning, right? My time is a little more limited than yours, but I struggle with the meditation piece a little bit. I do it 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, but I'm getting there. I'm working on trying to meditate better. But I like my exercise in the morning. I sometimes, if the weather is good, I go jog or read a little bit or mix it up, right? But I do some of that. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, here, what you're doing is also meditation in a way. The bottom line of meditation is to try to focus your thoughts in one area. Right. So if you are enjoying the book and fall into the real story of that book, in a way, it's meditation.
Mhm.
Or other than that, you just sit there and focus on your breathing. The whole idea of focusing on the breathing is to avoid all the thoughts flying around in your head, right? Our head is a synthesis of thoughts, and
Right.
it's fleeting.
But I do a lot of stretching more, right? I'm a more stretcher than anything else. So I stretch my body a lot, so that helps. And I do cold shower too. So do you?
That's good. Yes. Yeah. Good. That's nice.
I recommend that to anybody. Practice it, do it, get comfortable with it. Cold shower.
Yes. Well, in the process of doing the stretches or the yoga, you focus a little bit on the stretches itself. But technically, you are meditating and stretching too, right?
Mhm.
So you tend to enjoy the stretch. You tend to focus on the breathing, and it's all yoked together. There is nothing that works that are not attached to something else.
Quite true. Quite true. Good. Thank you. Thank you. So we are aligned here. Okay, Jay, before I go into the strong point, which is our finance, I want to ask you if you want to share anything to the audience, where they can find Jay, who is Jay, tell them a little bit about Jay and what you can deliver or what you can bring to the community.
Well, for me, I come from a humble beginning. I am from Guyana, from Berbice, Crabwood Creek, farming village. Grew up as a small boy, barefoot among cattle and farming. I still bring my farming here in my backyard in the summertime. But I started there, and we did not had any financial acumen because our parents, you plant a little bit of rice, sell some, got some, and live day to day. I came to Canada in 1983. Like most of the people who come around that time, you come with your suitcase and maybe $10, $15. I studied chemistry at the University of Guyana and thought I'll get a good job here. Unfortunately, it's a different country, so I ended up working from cleaning malls to working in factories to everything else. And then in '89, I eventually had my insurance license. I sell insurance. Then I also have my real estate license. And I start selling real estate. And I focus on one thing. I always believe that if you want something badly enough, you can get it. Never focus on the material aspect. Focus on the service aspect. I mean, life is like to say that business should be like a medical scale, that apothecary scale, where on one side called service, the other side is called reward. If you want more reward, don't look into the bowl that mark reward. Look into the bowl that marks service. The scale is always balanced. The more you put in service, the more you get in reward.
Pretty cool.
Right? Yeah, so some of my good teachers along the way are recommended Dr. Earl Nightingale, if you've heard of him, wonderful gentleman.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Wayne Dwyer, Dr. Deepak Chopra. These are all great souls that you can learn a lot from.
Good. All right, thank you. So let's jump straight into our financial aspect of our lives. And I think finance is as critical as every other facet that we mentioned in order for us to live a good life as we get older. So share the secret there, Jay. Go for it.
It's very simple. Number one, I will tell a person what the first most important thing is to have a good credit history.
Okay.
Your credit is really your DNA, your financial DNA in the society. For example, if you want to go and borrow money, first thing they will look at your history, whether you had borrowed money before. If you'd never borrowed money, they wouldn't lend you money. So you got to start small. Number two, if you have bad credit, then they wouldn't lend you money, or somebody will lend you money at a very high interest rate. So for many people who have multiple credit cards and other debts, my first idea, if you have some savings in your account, is to pay those debts off, pay off the high paying debts like credit cards. If you do not, and you have many other debts, for example, it might be wise to go to your lender and say, hey, you know what? I got debt A, B, C, and D. I would like to consolidate them into one monthly payment. And that way you can take that money and pay off all the high debt cards. I find some people got 20,000 in their account, but they got 30,000 in credit card, and they're holding on to that 20,000 and paying that high interest rate. It does not make sense. Pay off those. A couple of things I've learned along the way. That's number one. Number two, don't lend people money.
Don't let.
Unless you're a money lender.
Okay, gotcha.
My first experience in Canada, barely saving some money, had about $500 in an account, and then a friend wanted to borrow it to send for his mom in Guyana, and that's 33 years ago, and I'm still waiting for that money to come back. So the bottom line is that if someone don't have money in the first place, how would they have money to pay you back? Most important as well is do not co-sign for anyone. Mm-hmm. I've seen many times where a client come to me, they want to buy a home, but they did not realize that they had co-signed for their friend 10 years ago to buy a cell phone, and that friend did not pay the cell phone bill and their credit got damaged. So you don't want to link. I mean, I might co-sign for you, Ray. You're a great guy, but then you, somewhere along the line, you co-sign for Johnny, and Johnny messed his credit, which in turn pulled your credit down, which in turn pulled mine down. So it's a chain. So you don't co-sign for everyone. Let's talk a little bit about building your credit. The next thing, how to save. The best way to save is to scoop from all your paycheck at least 10% of your money up front. Scoop that cream out up front. If you don't do it, you'll never save. So for me, the way I set it up from the beginning is that every month I have certain amount of money that comes out of my checking account, and I set it up in such a way it automatically deposits into my saving account. So I don't even miss that. Now I'll budget on the next 80%. So I consider my income 20% less. Right. Now, where do I save this money? Number one, you can save it in a tax-free saving account. A tax-free saving account is when you put that money in there, you're usually after tax dollar, the money has already been taxed, but the profits you make are not tax deductible. You can put an average every year, have different amount. For example, 2023, you can put away $6,500 in a tax-free saving account. Now, when you put that money in there, I will advise you not to invest in GIC. The bank pushes you to invest in GIC, tell you the higher interest rate, but don't even go there. Number one, interest rate is being taxed at the highest tax bracket. You don't want to do that. I'll tell you where to invest it shortly. The next thing you want to invest in is register retirement saving plans. Now, register retirement saving plan, the money you are putting into that saving plan is not being taxed at the beginning, which means, let's say your income is 40,000, you put 10,000 in a RRSP. Technically, your income is 30,000 in the eyes of the government. So you pay tax on a lower amount. Right. Unlike the tax-free saving account. Now, you can contribute different amount. For example, 2022, you could have contributed up to 18% of your gross income to your RRSP. Now, that money can grow in there until you retire or until you actually need it. You don't have to wait for retirement to take that money out. Let's say you have a bad year, 1 year, and your income is almost zero. Then you can go and supplement it with some RRSP money, right? Now, if you're opening an RRSP, I'll advise you to open a self-directed RRSP. Self-directed means you're investing it in yourself. Now, the best way to invest your money, as I said, is not in a GIC, but in a good dividend stock. For example, do you ever hear the bank losing money? Every quarter they make billions of dollars, and that money, a lot of that goes back to their shareholder. So what I personally do is with my money that I take out every month up to today, it goes straight into a dividend stock, either TD, Scotia, Royal, Enbridge Gas. These are good stocks to choose, and you just buy it and leave it there. You don't trouble it. You ask them to put it in a drip campaign as well. Drip campaign means that the dividends you make goes back directly to buy more of that same stock. So you want to do it that way, and that portfolio will grow over the time. When you're ready to buy your home, if you're a first-time buyer, remember you can take out money from your RRSP towards a down payment. A single person can take out 35,000, a couple 70,000. It only applies to first-time buyers, but a first-time buyer definition is that you must not own a home anywhere in the world for the last 4 years. So it's only 4 years. If you had got a previous home and you sold it and 4 years have passed, technically you're considered a first-time buyer again. That RRSP must be paid back to yourself within 15 years, but you got 2 years grace period. So you can handle it that way. Moving on to the bigger picture, real estate is one of the best vehicles for building wealth. An average property goes up in value so much that within 7 years, you can take money from that property and buy another property without putting any money from your own pocket. Now, if you have at retirement 4 properties earning $2,500 per month, that's $10,000 per month, which is $120,000 per year, every year at retirement. That's even better than a retirement saving plan, because in an RRSP, you take that money out, it's fully taxable. Whereas if you take, you got your rental income, there are a lot of write-offs you can get as well. For you to get $120,000 a year from your RSP, you must get at least 1.2 million at 10%. And here, all it takes to buy a home with a small amount of down payment. Buyers can buy with as low as 5% down. The bank will generally lend you up to 4 times your income. That's a rule of thumb. It changes as the interest rate changes. Okay. But let's say your family making 100,000, then you can make 400,000. Okay. So these are some financial tips I want to share with you.
Thank you. But Jay, now that you do all of this, and if somebody want to reach you, what's your number? You want to share your number and the things?
Yes, if they need any advice, you can always call me at 416-418. 2745, that's 416-418 Bridge, BRIG.
Thank you. And of course, I'll put your number at the bottom of the slides once I'm finished, so people can contact you. Well, that's pretty informative, Jay, and I respect your knowledge in the industry. Of course, that's why you're so successful. You have the knowledge, you have the ability to share it in a manner that a simple guy like me can understand. So that's pretty good. I'm impressed. Thank you very much. I made no mistake in bringing you on the show.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it.
You know, I got a couple minutes. So I'm going to tell you, I was listening to one of your speech from your Toastmaster thing, and you were talking about the mosquito when you had a cup of coffee and you went out to the deck and the mosquito bit your head and the coffee was all over you. That was a good analogy that you were talking about in terms of business, right? Simple story, but it has a
Yes, I remember that. I call it the bites, and the reason for it is that yes, the reason for that. I'm glad you listened to that. Is to show people that you know what, not because you are down, you gotta stay down. Get up, dust yourself off, and move on. All right. I mean, I'll think about a softball. The harder they fall, the higher the bunks.
correct.
Right. Similarly, voltage. The faster the difference, the stronger the volt. So if you're coming from a lower point to a higher point, you know, your spring is greater. So get up, dust yourself off, look ahead, and move on. Don't blame what happened to you on society. Right. You find yourself have a problem, look for someone who have a worse problem and help them.
Yeah, that's
And
what,
certainly your problem will disappear.
quite true, quite true. You know, it's true. We all think, or a lot of people think that, you know, we got a little, we hurt a nail or we hurt a toe or whatever, and we think that the world is coming to an end. But, you know, look on the other side, not far from you, and see how many people are hurting, really hurting, right? It's pretty impressive the way you put it.
Well, Ray, you see, we as human beings, we love to drink from our cup of sorrow. We have joy drinking from our cup of sorrow. So a lot of people tend to go to that cup of sorrow and talk about it all the time because they generate joy from it. But you got to let go of those things and think ahead and move forward. It's easy to succeed. It's start in the thinking process and a little bit of planning, and you can get there.
Pretty cool. So listen, Jay, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you take time off from your family this evening to come and share with us. I do respect it and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And just for my audience, if you want more people like Jay, I'm encouraging you to do a subscribe to our channel, please. Leave a comment and, you know, ask a question. We'll surely like to answer and find the right person to come on the show and share. And even if we have more information for Jay, we can surely leverage him back at some other time to answer questions of any kind. So once again, thank you very much, Jay, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for having me on.